Welcome to Sports Map Houston. I'm Brandon Strange. Today I am joined by SportsMapHouston.com's editor and host of Moneyline on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5, Josh Jordan. Josh, welcome in. Just want to remind everybody, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do. One of the stories, Josh, that flew under the radar last week, buried under the departure of J.J. Watt and then the polar vortex that hit the Texas region over the weekend, was the resignation of Texans President Jamey Rootes. With the influence that we know that Jack Easterby holds in the Texans organization, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities that Easterby could step into that vacant position of team president. Josh, is it me, or does this sound like the perfect way for Jack Easterby to shield himself from the mess he's helped to create on the football side of things?
It absolutely does. With Jamey Rootes gone, if Easterby goes to the business side of the football team, anything that's gone wrong or will go wrong as far as how good the team is, wins and losses, trades, all that kind of stuff, even stuff that Easterby helped put into motion, he won't get into the blame for. He'll be on the other side of the business. The other thing that's interesting is we thought he would be a character coach or something like that, like he was at other organizations. And just last week, the Texans hired a new character coach. So clearly Easterby is going to be doing something different. And this is just perfect for him, because if things go wrong and he's moved over to president, well, they'll probably just fire Nick Caserio and David Culley, and Easterby will get to stay.
Before Nick Caserio was hired, Cal McNair had already said Jack Easterby would not be involved in football decisions, which was then soon followed by reports by our own Lance Zierlein that Easterby was still making calls to agents, and his sources were saying that Jack was very much involved in the football side of things, which was contradictory to what we were told was going to happen. Do we trust that even if Jack Easterby transitioned over to the business side of the organization, that he would stay out of personnel decisions?
No, based on what? We thought O'Brien was the one holding all the power over there, and here we are. O'Brien's gone, and it looks like Easterby's the guy calling the shots, which is it's crazy. Even the national people can't wrap their minds around what's going on here. So it's a real concern. But we've seen this before with Cal McNair, right? He says that Easterby will do whatever the new GM tells him to do. It's not going to be football stuff. Well, that's not happening. Look at Deshaun Watson saying that, he was told he would be part of the process of the new head coach and general manager. And that turned out not to be the case. So, yeah, it's hard to trust anything that they're telling you from over there.
I would be comfortable with Jack Easterby going to the business side, not touching the football decisions if I knew that were going to be the case. But as we've seen, his power within the building, Jack Easterby's, is pervasive, because we were told that the GM would decide the fate of Jack Easterby, the incoming GM would. Well, it turned out Jack Easterby ended up deciding the fate of the incoming GM because he's the one who helped pick the incoming GM. So there was no way after that happened that the incoming GM, in this case Nick Caserio, was going to part ways with Jack Easterby because he was integral in getting him that position. What I find interesting is that one of the implications here with Jamey being gone, Jamey Rootes that is, with him being gone, it feels like he was one of the last guys that was qualified for the position that he's in the organization. You tell me if I'm wrong in that. Is it just me, or are many of the people that are being brought in every one of these positions, or at least seemingly that way, they seem really underqualified for their roles?
Because they are. Ken Hoffman wrote a piece on Sports Map Houston the other day saying that with Jamey Rootes leaving, the last adult in the room is now gone. And he's absolutely right, because, think about every top-tier position. Cal McNair, he's arguably a clueless owner, but a new owner, right? He hasn't been doing this for very long. Nick Caserio, sure, he has some front office experience, but he's never been a GM before. David Culley, your new head coach, he's been an assistant. He's been an assistant head coach, but he's never been a head coach before. And then even to Josh McCown, who we're hearing is the coach in waiting, that he's being groomed to be the next Texans head coach. He's learning from people that have never done it before. So on every level, these people are not experienced. And, I'm all for giving somebody a chance if they're really qualified. Everybody got a chance somewhere at some time. But when, every single person in that building, they don't have experience. If Easterby does become the president, he doesn't have any experience doing that. And I just, went off the list of all the other people that haven't done it either. Somebody has to be known to be good at their job. And that was Jamey Rootes, and he's not there anymore. And from what we understand, I think it all went haywire when they went through the effort to put that Korn Ferry, panel together to give them a list of the most qualified general managers. And when they gave them the list of names, that's not what Cal went with. He went with Nick Caserio, who wasn't on that final list. And I think once that happened, Jamey Rootes knew, like, there's no going back. And it's a big deal in this COVID world with all this craziness going on, for a guy like Jamey Rootes to jump ship without a job already set up ahead of time. And that's pretty telling.
Probably doesn't hurt that he's sitting on a gigantic pile of money, I would imagine, from that NFL executive salary. But from all we've heard, Jamey Rootes earned every bit of that salary because they were rolling in money. And the bottom line is he was very good at his job from all measurables. And so it's scary to think about such a important role within the company going to a person who is underqualified. And we would say, well, of course, Cal McNair would want to hire someone who's qualified for that role. But as we just pointed out, he's hiring a lot of people that are underqualified for the role, and not the least of which is Jack Easterby, because this is a guy who was a team chaplain turned character coach turned executive vice president of football operations. It's mind-blowing. But for all the reasons that we've laid out, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we could see this happen. And I know that there's people that are going to watch this. They're going to go, oh, this is just more doom and gloom. This is more Jack Easterby hating. You don't even know what he does. I think that is the scary part. So even if he were bad at it, I don't know that anyone, especially Cal McNair, a new owner, is going to understand how bad he is at it. And maybe he'll be great at it.
Right. And he's going to easily be able to, use the COVID excuse again. Who knows what it looks like if we're going to have, people in the stands, if companies are going to be advertising with the same amount of budgets they were before all this. The other big thing that, finally, that does concern me, we never hear from this guy. We dug up old tapes where he's doing comedy before some church activities, right? He's not accountable vocally for any of this. And, Cal's kind of fallen on the sword for some of this, but we never hear from him. He's just disappeared. So that's very telling to me that all this goes down and he's nowhere to be found.